If you ever wondered what you do if there's no one around to hold your beer, you might want to try asking this guy.
Newly released surveillance video showing a Cass County gas station customer firing 7 shots at a suspected armed robber, all while holding a 6-pack of light beer.
The shooting seriously injured the suspect, who had armed himself with a box cutter.
Now, the customer waiting to learn if he'll face criminal charges.
The video shows the customer holding a 6-pack of Miller Lite as the suspect, dressed in black, bursts in on July 27th. The suspect, identified as a 35-year-old Dowagiac man, pulls a mask over his face. Another angle shows the suspect approaching the store clerk. Police say he threatened the clerk with a box cutter. The customer, who has a valid concealed carry permit, told police he could not see what was in the robber's hand, but he could see the look of fear in the clerk's face. Video shows the customer pulling a handgun and firing 3 shots, then another 3, all while holding that 6-pack. It appears one of those shots hit a liquor bottle. He fired the final shot several seconds later. Bullets struck the robber in the arm, the back, and the face. The customer told police the suspect fell to the floor but was crawling toward him. He held him at gunpoint until police got there. Cass County Prosecutor Victor Fitz says he's waiting for police to finish the investigation before deciding whether to file criminal charges against the customer. Obviously, there's some people who would consider the shooter a hero.
Well, in Michigan, obviously, it's clear that we do have defense of others as part of the law in Michigan, that you can defend others if they're in a situation where there's dangerous force being used against them. And certainly in this case, we'll be looking at the facts in regard to that.
Some people are just built different. In situations like this, there are some people who would freeze, then there are some people who would run. And as is the case here, some would just simply say,
I'm your huckleberry.
I don't know if it's arrogance or pure stupidity that makes you think it makes sense to try and rob a convenience store with a box cutter in a country with over 300 million guns. And for the people who are decrying this self-defense shooting and saying, he didn't have to shoot him, he only had a box cutter, would you be saying that if it were you that this criminal was threatening to kill with the box cutter? People severely underestimate the lethality of a sharp object like a box cutter. In 2021, 1,035 people were murdered by knives and cutting instruments. That's double the number of people killed by rifles and shotguns combined. Knives and cutting instruments can be as deadly, if not more deadly, than a gun, especially once someone is in striking distance. And effective striking distance with a knife or a cutting instrument is a lot further than you think.
Research initially conducted by Dennis Tuller and published in an influential article showed that an assailant armed with a short-handled edged weapon standing 21 feet from an officer is able to stab and or slice the officer with the edged weapon before the officer is able to draw and fire his or her handgun more than half the time.
The guy who was robbing this place was a lot closer than 21 feet, and you are allowed to use lethal force to protect the life of someone else. You just better be absolutely positive who the aggressor is. Another thing I think people should take away from this video is the fact that the armed citizen shot with one hand. Clearly. Very rarely do I see people training to shoot with one hand. I'll go so far as to say the chance that you'll be forced to shoot with one hand in a self-defense situation is 50-50. And most people suck shooting with one hand because they rarely, if ever, practice shooting with one, much less their weak hand, which I think people should do too, along with keeping their mouth shut. Because this self-defense shooting is a great example of why you should shut the hell up when you're being questioned by the police after a self-defense shooting. Just shut up. Him saying he couldn't see what was in his hands, but he could see that the cashier was in fear of his life, is the reason why this isn't an open and shut case. And now they're trying to see if they're going to press charges. The only thing out of your mouth should be, I want my lawyer, please. That's it. Otherwise, all you're doing is giving more leverage to the prosecutor to use your words against you. In law school, we learn to argue both sides of one argument. And if you get an overly ambitious prosecutor who hates guns and hates the Second Amendment, it doesn't matter how clear-cut you think it is. When it comes to making arguments, we lawyers are like rats. We'll find one possible hole and then exploit the shit out of it. An overly ambitious prosecutor will take everything you say and flip it to make you look like you just wanted to murder someone. So, do yourself a favor and shut up. And also get some type of concealed carry insurance that comes with a membership like USCCA, so that if you ever happen to be in a self-defense shooting, you're not freaking out wondering, what lawyer do I call? What do I do? Just call the 24-hour membership line, and their network of attorneys that specialize in self-defense shootings will tell you exactly what to do. This is why I have USCCA as a sponsor, because I think they have the most comprehensive membership when it comes to concealed carry insurance. So if you want to learn more about what you get with a USCCA membership, click the link in the description section of this video. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.